All right, let's dive deep into the mists of Irish mythology, where one name echoes with a truly chilling kind of power, the Morrigan. We're talking about a goddess who whispers about war, who weaves the very threads of fate, and who ultimately holds the crown of sovereignty. But here's the thing about the ancient tales of the Tuatha Dé Danann. Her story isn't about just one deity. It's this tangled, complex web of identities. So today, we're going to unravel the mystery of this phantom queen and sovereign judge.
So right off the bat, we're faced with this central mystery. When we talk about the Morrigan, are we actually talking about a single goddess? Or are we talking about a trio of incredibly powerful sisters? Honestly, this question is the absolute key to understanding who or what she really is. And you know, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. The Lord describes her as a collective force, a three-in-one. The best way to think about it is like a single shadow being cast by three distinct figures, all moving together as one. That's the Morrigan. Her power is deeply rooted in the land. She is a daughter of the mother goddess Ernmis, after all, but the Morrigan is as much a title, a force of nature, as it is any one person. To even begin to get a grip on this collective entity, you have to look at the two primary sides of her power. Two sides of the same sovereign coin, really. And what's so cool is how her name actually evolves to reflect this. On one side, you have the Phantom Queen, an absolute master of terror. On the other, you have the Great Queen, the ultimate judge of real tangible power. Let's break that down.
First up, let's step into the shadows and explore the Phantom Queen. We're talking about a master of psychological warfare. This is where battles are won or lost, not on some bloody field, but in the minds of the warriors themselves.
And her name, it literally gives the game away. The old Irish word mor means terror or monster. So right there in the etymology, she is directly linked to the specters, the ghouls, and the nightmares of ancient folklore.
This quote just perfectly captures what the Phantom Queen is all about. She's not a physical threat you can fight with a sword. No, she is the feeling of dread itself. She's the nightmare that sits upon a warrior's chest, a chilling reminder that sometimes fear is a much, much sharper weapon than steel.
So, her arsenal isn't made of forged metal, it's made of pure fear. As the Phantom Queen, she wages war on the psyche, draining the courage from warriors, unnerving the soul, and completely shattering a person's mind long before their body is ever in danger.
But the Morrigan isn't just some creature of nightmares. She's also a queen of the physical world. So from the shadows of the mind, let's step into the realm of kings, of crowns, and of the land itself. This is the Morrigan as the Great Queen.
And just like before, her name tells the whole story. That word evolved over time into the Middle Irish mor, which translates to large or great. You can literally see in the language itself her transition from a psychological specter to a goddess of physical dominion and authority.
As the Great Queen, she's no longer just a bad dream. She is the personification of the land itself. Her authority is absolute, and she is the final judge on who is actually worthy of wearing the crown.
This quote just cuts right to the heart of the Great Queen's power. Leadership isn't just given to you, it is earned through immense sacrifice. The crown comes at a bloody price, and she is there to make sure everyone remembers the stakes.
Her power in the real world is absolute. She is the land, and she is the one who decides who is fit to rule it. The price for that power is steep, and believe me, she makes sure it is always paid in full.
So how does she manage to wield this dual power, both absolute terror and absolute sovereignty? Well, that brings us right back to the mystery of her identity. The Morrigan's power is channeled through three distinct sisters, and each one is a master of a different aspect of conflict.
Let's meet the sisters. First, there's Bob, known as the Frenzy. She's the one who shows up as a hooded crow, screaming over the fields to signal that carnage is about to begin. Then you have Macha, the Sovereignty. She embodies the brutal demands of the land, and she is the one who collects that bloody price from the slain. And finally, there's Naman, the Venom. Her weapon is her voice, a piercing shriek that can drive an entire army into sudden madness or even death.
So you've got chaos, dominion, and psychological ruin. These are the interconnected faces of war, and the three sisters are its masters. And while they might appear as separate individuals in the heat of battle, they function as a single shadow, their influence touching every single corner of the battlefield. You know, there's a classic story from the lore that perfectly demonstrates how all these different threads, the Phantom, the Queen, the three sisters, are all woven together. It all takes place at the Ford of Unshin.
This story really reveals the true nature of the Morrigan. She's a judge, and the face she decides to show you, well, that depends entirely on who you are and what kind of destiny you've earned for yourself.
So, first, a young, arrogant warrior comes to the ford. He doesn't see some powerful goddess. Nope, he sees a withered old woman, and her presence alone is enough to just turn his courage to water. He is seeing the Phantom Queen, a direct reflection of his own impending failure.
But then, a High King approaches that very same spot. He sees something completely different. A regal, powerful woman who holds the fate of his entire kingdom in her hands. He is witnessing the Great Queen, the personification of the sovereignty he's desperately fighting to protect.
So what's going on here? Why does the same being appear in two completely different ways to two different men in the exact same location?
It's because the Morrigan is a mirror. Her appearance isn't random. It's a reflection of the observer's own soul and the destiny that they have forged for themselves. She shows you the fate that you have earned.
And this brings us to the final judgment, the synthesis of everything we've uncovered here. She isn't simply one or the other. She is both the nightmare and the throne, and they are completely inextricably linked.
So let's recap what we've learned. The Morrigan is a collective force of three sisters. She's a bridge between the inner world of fear and the outer world of power. And, most importantly, she is the final arbiter for both the warrior and the king, reminding all of us that terror and greatness are just two sides of the same sovereign coin.
In the end, the Morrigan remains this incredibly chilling and fascinating figure. She is the singular shadow that looms over Irish folklore, a complex divinity who embodies both our darkest fears and our highest ambitions. She is the nightmare and the throne, a constant, terrifying reminder that true power and true terror are often one and the same.